Hey, is that a manatee?
Yes, it is.
Didn't we do a movie about manatees?
Yeah, I feel like we have one of those around here somewhere. Here, I'll look.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, there it is. Want to watch it?
Sure.
Let's go.
But before we watch it, aren't manatees really close related to elephants and whatnot?
Yeah, they're more closely related to elephants than sea animals, I think.
For people who don't know, what are manatees?
Manatees are sea mammals that swim in warm southern saltwater and freshwater rivers and oceans, grazing on the seagrass and such.
Oh, I see.
I see, yes. What you doing? Listening to manatee sounds? Why? Because I went to SeaWorld and learned all about the manatees.
Well, if you learn so much, why don't you tell me about them?
Sometimes they're called sea cows.
Well then.
Where's Chelsea?
I don't know, I'll call her.
Okay.
Hello?
Hey, where are you?
I'm almost there, okay?
Barbara Manatee, you are the one for me.
It's quite a lovely day out.
Hey, so did you guys know that manatees swim in freshwater rivers?
Oh, really? Because, I thought they flew.
Okay, so I looked up manatees online because why not? And it says that they're endangered. Yeah, I heard that in 2013, 769 manatees, died.
Do you know why?
I don't know, but I'll look it up. Okay, it says that it used to be primarily because of collisions with motorboats, but since then they have put up signs warning boaters of manatee zones.
Then what is killing these manatees?
It says here that the seagrasses they eat is disappearing. Does it give a reason? Probably, but I put my phone away.
Well, then we should go to my house and look it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Barbara Manatee, you are the one for me. Sent from up above, you are the one I love.
Oh, goodness. There we go. Well, it says here that runoff and pollution is destroying the seagrass beds that manatees rely on for food.
What's that?
It says that there's something called red tide that's killing the seagrass beds that they eat, forcing the manatees to eat different seagrass that isn't a part of their natural diet.
Why do manatees even matter?
Because seagrass beds are important because they provide breeding and development grounds for the manatees and other species of fish, shellfish, and crustaceans. And the manatees keep the seagrass short enough for these things to happen, but without them the seagrass would not be inhabitable. If the seagrass dies, then that could result in more marine species being lost, and eventually it would impact the humans too. So if manatees go extinct, it would all end up bad for us too.
Dang, girl.
And because they are cool, and also because when the manatees die, it's an indicator that something is seriously wrong with the waterways. But mostly because they're cool.
3 days later, 12.
Hey, look, guys, there's a boat. Did you guys know the boats are often the leading cause of manatee deaths?
Yeah, the boats don't see them in the water, and the manatees, they get, cut up by the propellers, and then they die.
But why are they on the surface in the first place?
Because they can only hold their breath for, 3 to 5 minutes before they need to breathe air.
Well, that's all? They can't hold their breath for longer? Aren't they like fish?
They're mammals that need to breathe air.
Well. Question. How do you guys know all this stuff about manatees anyways?
Well, see, when I went to SeaWorld, I learned a lot about them, and then while I was there, one of the things I learned is that you should never touch a manatee in the wild or separate the mother and the calf, because the calves are dependent on their mothers for 2 years. And if you separate them, they'll die.
And I looked up manatees because Bryn got me kind of hooked on the manatees, So I was researching the manatees on the internet, and I found that humans are the number one reason for they're the only predators that they really only have.
Why don't they have any natural predators?
Because they don't have anyone to compete with them for food.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, most people don't know anything about manatees.
Well, aren't they mainly in Florida anyway?
Well, the West Indian manatees are, yeah, but there's also different species of manatees that are in the Africa and the Amazon.
Africa.
You guys want to go get some ice cream?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
Guys, all this stuff about manatees dying is really sad. What can we do to help?
Well, first we should focus on growing their food source, because the Indian River, where they graze, has lost more than 47,000 acres of seagrass since 2010, which is the same as losing an entire rainforest.
If the manatees go extinct, we'll have a whole different problem too. There will be too much seagrass, and then the waterways that they're in will get choked out.
But what about that red tide stuff that you guys were talking about earlier? Can't they eat that?
No. Red tide is poisonous to them. It's a high concentration of Carenia brevis.
What's that?
It's a toxic form of algae that can choke out the oxygen of the water when it decomposes, which is bad for the seagrass that the manatees eat.
But how does it harm the manatee?
Well, the red tide kills the seagrass, and the churning of the sea can aerosolize it so that when the manatees go to the surface to breathe it, they inhale it. And also they can take in the water that contains the red tide, which can make them sick.
That's awful! What can we do to help?
Well, if we limited the amount of pollutants that we produce, it could help to keep the seagrass alive. And so when the seagrass die, the manatees have to find a new source of food, and often the new food that they find is harmful to them, and they can die.
Well, I like that idea. It just doesn't help the manatees, but it also reduces pollution, which will help everyone.
When they run out of food, they have to try and find new beds of seagrass. The locations of these new seagrass beds may not be protected by the manatee speed zone, so they're at a higher rate of collision. Me.
So if we had like more groups enforce the speed laws to protect the manatees, that would help too.
Yeah, that would actually help a lot.
I want to save the manatees. What can I do personally?
Well, you could educate yourself and others about global warming and climate change and pollution and how those things affect the ocean mammals.
You guys know
Solar freaking roadway.
that's one thing to stop pollution, and it decreases the amount of carbon we put back in the solar system.
That sounds awesome.
It really is.
Save the manatees!
Save them!
They're going extinct!
Help us, please! Save the manatees!
Save them!
Save me!
Barbara Manatee, you are the one for me. Sent from up above, you are the one I love.